Alright, welcome back guys. In this video, you will learn how to apply shadows inside Photoshop step by step. Let's get started. Now, before applying shadows, the first thing you have to do is to determine the light source. So as you can see on the screen, the light source comes from this portion. So definitely the shadow has to face this way. Now I want to apply this shadow to these two boys in front here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a selection around the first object here. I'll switch to the object selection tool, and on the options bar I change the mode from rectangle to lasso. Then I'll just create a selection around him like so. Once the selection has been established, I'll modify it. I'll increase the feather radius up to 3 and just confirm it like so. Then I'll right click on this layer and convert it into a smart object. Then let's just add another layer above here. Now with this new layer selected, I'm going to fill it with the foreground color, which is black. I'll press Alt backspace to fill that new layer like so. Then I'll press Ctrl plus D to deselect. Then I'm going to right click here and convert it into a smart object. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can be able to transform the layer without losing any pixels. As you can see, because we painted the shadow on a separate layer, we can be able to move it around. I'm just going to align everything like this, then I'll press Ctrl T to transform it. Then if you have watched my transformation video, you know that we can always click on this reference point matrix to move it down here. Once the anchor point has been snapped here, any transformation we'll do now will occur around this point. I actually want to transform this image directly from this portion, so I'll move the anchor point there. Then I'll right click and then choose distort. Then I'll grab any of these handles or these corners and pull it down like so. Now on the layers panel, let's click on this button to add a mask. Because normally to apply shadows, those shadows have to be sharper when they are closer to the object or subject of the photograph, and when they are further away, they have to transition smoothly. So with the mask selected, I'm going to switch to the gradient tool. Then I'm just going to click here and drag like so. Now on the layers panel, I'm going to take down the opacity. I'm going to put this one shadow inside a group, and I'll select the background layer again. Let's repeat the same thing to add a shadow to this subject. Let's reduce the opacity here on the layers panel, and let's add a mask to it. Then with the gradient tool, I'm just going to drag a gradient on it just like so. And I'll put it inside a group as well. Now you can spend some time to refine all the shadows, but I think everything looks nice. Here is the photograph without the shadows, and here they are with all the two shadows applied. Now let's move to the next project. In this other project, I took some time to mask the sneaker out with the pen tool. Then the next thing I did was to add a background. Now I'm going to show you how to add a realistic shadow to it. Now before adding the shadow, I assume that the light direction is from this way. So the shadow has to come this way. On the layers panel, I also converted the layer into a smart object. That way any filter or adjustment and apply will come in as a smart filter or smart adjustment. I'm going to start by right clicking and choosing blending options. On the layers tile window, I will add drop shadow. Now I'm going to click on this button to reset it to default, and I'll set the opacity up to 100 to make it completely black. Then I'll also turn off global light. Now if we click on the eye here to hide the effect for a moment, you can see how flat the design looked before. Just by adding a simple drop shadow, we created this depth. Now let's actually separate the shadow from the main subject. With the layer selected, I'll go to layers, then choose layer style. Then down here, I'm going to choose create new layer. Now let's hide the sneaker layer for a moment to reveal the shadow layer. As you can see, we can be able to control the opacity of this layer individually. So on the options bar, I'm just going to take down its opacity. Then I'll also move it down ever so slightly, just like so. Now if you take a closer look towards these upper portions, you can see that part of the shadow is visible. To fix it, let's add a mask to it. And then with the brush tool, make sure the foreground color is set to black. Then make sure the mask is selected. Increase the size of the brush and paint on the portions you don't need. The next thing I'm going to do is to add another layer above this layer, and then I'll manually paint on it to add more depth to the shadow. I'll simply click inside opacity here and input a value of 17. And in the future, if I need to adjust the opacity, I can just take it up. Now let's enable the text layer at the top. And let's double click on the background layer thumbnail here and pick a nice color. Now I'm going to put all these 3 adjustments including the text layer into one group. And because everything sits within one group, we can adjust the opacity of the whole group. So let's turn off the adjustments for the moment, and as you can see, the whole design looks so flat, but with the little adjustments we added, we gave some depth to it. So this is how you can add shadows inside Photoshop. Thank you for watching the video to the end. I hope you actually learned something from it. If you got value out of this video, give us a like and comment down below to let us know. I'm going to see you in the next one tomorrow. Good luck.